Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
A lot of people ask me, why do you support Donald Trump? Well, it's simple. The establishment is scared to death of him for real. The private Federal Reserve just gave the majority of its money to Hillary Clinton, a small amount in political donations to Ted Cruz, and zero to Donald Trump. The Chinese Communist government comes out and threatens Americans not to vote for him. The Japanese government says they're scared. The Mexican government, the British government talks about banning him coming over there. The Democratic Party, the Republican Party comes out against him. Obama tells us he's disqualified. He's not allowed to run for president.
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
Now the Republican leadership's come out and said, we do plan to steal the election at the RNC convention. Never before been done. The establishment we claim we hate. The establishment we claim that we do anything to throw out. Just give us somebody with integrity. Is scared to death of Donald Trump, and still 20-30% of Republicans and the vast majority of Democrats sit there on the sideline because he's brash and he doesn't use cue cards. Isn't that what everybody's looking for? Listen, I disagree with Donald Trump on things like eminent domain and his interpretation of that and the whole iPhone controversy. But when you start looking at why the elite are so scared of Donald Trump, it's what makes me so confident in my support of him. He is against globalism and unfair trade deals that our criminal politicians are making to sell us out because they become the directors and the beneficiaries of those deals that sell us down the river. Trump wants us to have sovereignty, and he believes in strength and nationhood. He's a nationalist, and that's why they are against him. He believes in this country and does want to make it great again. I hope he picks up the slogan, let's make America free again, and starts coming out against more of the police state. But again, nobody's perfect. Now, George Soros, the famous Nazi collaborator, the guy that funded the Arab Spring and the overthrow of the Ukrainian government and more, who's been funding Black Lives Matter and their destabilization program around the country, they're coming out and saying they're going to organize, starting next month, just about a week and a half away, the biggest attacks on his meetings ever. They're coming to his free speech events to interrupt and take over the entire events. These aren't demonstrations. These are attempts to shut down free speech. And this new group has come out calling themselves the Democratic Spring. Remember, Al Gore called for an Arab Spring, but from leftists in America 4 years ago. And that's exactly what they want, a revolution to shut down our free speech with political correctness and to bully the American people into submission and open borders to merge us into a world government. Then Anonymous. Who is Anonymous? It's any group who wants to claim they're a white hat hacker coming out saying they declare total war on Donald Trump, attempting to get good hackers to join a fight against him.
Dear Donald Trump, we have been watching you for a long time and what we see is deeply disturbing. You say what your current audience wants to hear, but in reality you don't stand for anything except for your personal greed and power. This is a call to arms. This is a call to the freedom fighters, to the forgotten, to the censored, to our fellow hacktivists throughout the world. This is a call to protect our future, our freedom, and our very way of life. This is a call to you. We need you to shut down his websites. Research and expose what he doesn't want the public to know. We need you to dismantle his campaign and sabotage his brand. We are encouraging every able person with a computer watching this video to participate in this operation. You do not need to know how to hack to support this important operation.
I'm all for being anonymous, but to just say anonymous is the good guy and anonymous can be trusted. Anonymous is whoever they say they're anonymous. You could have a KKK Grand Dragon in there. You could have a Black Lives Matter, racist in there. And don't forget, it's Obama that said, if somebody brings a knife to a fight, you bring a gun. Yes, this is incendiary rhetoric, but it's protected free speech. And it's not Donald Trump's fault for his speech that people are coming and linking arms and saying, coming through, excuse us, running people over. I personally have had leftists do this to me when I was out covering an abortion rally, an anti-abortion rally at Planned Parenthood. They believe it's their right to trample our free speech. They are totalitarians. So to the abortion groups and to the so-called anonymous groups over at the Soros Foundation and over at the Pentagon, the American people see through this, the military sees through this, and more Americans are coming together against this tyranny. And we're going to have reporters out there in the field covering these Trump events and the attack on free speech. Even if you don't agree with Donald Trump, even if you don't like Donald Trump, now you've got to come out in support of free speech and support people's right to peaceably assemble and not have a bunch of brown shirt style thugs, Cicero 1933 Germany, show up and start fights so they can then blame free speech. Let's go back to Infowars Nightly News and the rest of our exercise of the First Amendment, because we're not going to let these bullies and tyrants shut down free speech. We're only going to exercise it more, because it's just like muscles. If you don't use them, you lose them. So that's a message to all of you out there. Get out there and fight for freedom or lose it all.
Thousands of years ago, there was a basic form of chivalry. Our ancestors would hear the drums of war, giving the warriors of the tribe a chance to organize and prepare a defense. 60 years ago, when foreign air forces were approaching filled with bombs, they had drums of their own, air raid sirens. But in the 21st century, there are silent weapons for quiet war, pathogens added to the food and water, and to the lining of plastics that destroy our vitality, turn off our hormones, and accelerate our journey towards death. I personally counter this onslaught with Anthroplex. Anthroplex is designed with known organic concentrated herbs to create the basic foundation to normal metabolic activity inside the human body. Discover why Anthroplex is turning so many heads today. It's time for us to take our bodies back into our own hands, and it starts at InfoWarsLife.com with Anthroplex.